This is where my fitness journey began. I was about 11 or 12 when I started coming across all these fitness influencers on Instagram. Back then I didn't know that it was just really good angles, really good lighting and pose positions that they were posting from, and I thought that that was how they looked all the time. I very quickly became obsessed with this type of body, and that was what I ultimately wanted, was having a bubble butt, having abs, having a six-pack, having a thigh gap and having really thin thighs and really thin arms. I was always pretty thin as a child, and growing up, when I first started my journey, I didn't necessarily think I was fat, but I didn't think I was skinny either, if that makes sense. So I actually remember one time saying to my coach at the gym, I think I was 15, 16 at the time, and I said to him, I just want to lose body fat, and his response was, "Where from your earlobe?" I was like, oh. But I was constantly consuming these pictures of these girls who looked really, really fit, looked really healthy, but obviously that was just kind of one side of the coin. Like, I don't know if they were actually healthy, but for me, chasing that kind of body and that goal was unhealthy, because I was already like this and I thought that I wasn't, so I wanted to be even more skinny. And there was times where I would just have, it was lunchtime in school, I was just having like one of the wee bread rolls that were like that size, and that was it. And then I would have like soup for dinner. I actually remember we would go out for dinner and I would just have a bowl of soup, and my mummy was like, "You need to eat more than soup," and I was like, "This is enough for me." In my head I was like, she doesn't get it, like this is what I need to eat to get this dream body that I have in my head. But obviously looking back, I know that that was the kind of wrong way to go about it, but again, I didn't know any better then. I didn't know anything about nutrition, I didn't know anything about photos were just posed or in good lighting or good angles. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with their body types, but just for me as a 12-year-old girl who has no idea about health and fitness, coming in and looking at these bodies going, okay, this is what my body is meant to look like all the time, it was unhealthy in that perspective. When I was about 13, 14, I started to go to the gym with my friends after school, so it was just a commercial gym, you just went in. At the start, I think we were doing like teen classes, which was like £2.10 per class. I don't know how long we did that for. But then we were old enough and we were allowed to actually go into the gym ourselves and use the equipment ourselves. Going in, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. We would start on the treadmill, do like, I can't even remember if we did like 20 minutes or something on the treadmill. We were just playing about with the machines. Like, I have no idea what we even did. I didn't go near any kind of free weights. It was all machine based. And before we would go into the gym, we were having big, massive, like the pound bars of chocolate, loads of sweets, crisps. I was completely uneducated back then, but we all have to start somewhere. After a while of doing that, there was a gym that opened up beside me, and I really wanted to get into a gym where someone would coach me. I went down, I watched one of the classes. The guy said to me, "Do you think you could do this?" I was like, yep. It was maybe a couple of days after, or else the following week, I actually went to my first session. And I remember coming home from my first session, and in my old house there was steps down to the house, and I remember walking down those steps and I was seeing like white swirly flashing things, I don't know, in my head. When I was walking down, I was like, I am about to pass out. And I went back the next day, so it must not have been that bad. That was when I was 14. Then just under a year of being there, I'd started obviously learning a lot more about food, learning about properly training, how to properly do press-ups, learning the techniques of different exercises. This is when I would say everything started to change for me, because I was actually surrounded by people who knew what they were doing. I was being coached. After just under a year of being at that gym, I was looking at the coaches and I was like, this is what I want to do. I wanted to do my personal training. I wanted to become a personal trainer, and I wanted to coach. So I think I was 15 at the time, and you had to be 16 to qualify. So I got in touch with a guy, and he said that the course, I think, was 18 weeks, 16 weeks. And he said that because I would be 16 before I qualified, that I was able to do it. So I was the youngest person to ever actually do that course. It was the level 2, level 3 personal trainer and fitness instructor, and a nutrition qualification. I did that, just started to coach friends and family, and I have been a coach ever since. So that was 6 years ago. And in 2022, I actually got an internship at that gym that I had originally signed up to. Limits Fitness, I had been training there since I was 15 or 14. I'm now 22 and I've been coaching there for just over 2 years, which is amazing. Then I started training at No Limits. I started off by doing boot camps, and I moved up into the strength club. I was 16 and I squatted 100 kilo. That is the heaviest squat I've ever done. From then I have went on to do a photo shoot. I was already lean enough. I was already pretty thin. If I was to do it again, I'd want to build a lot more muscle first. I feel like it wasn't too bad because I was already in an okay shape. I didn't have a lot of body fat to lose. The last week of it though was something else. Drinking like 6-7 litres of water. I remember waking up the morning before the photo shoot, and I had coaching that morning, and I woke up and I was shaking. I had no energy. I felt like drained. And then the next day I obviously went and did the photo shoot. Had a ball. It was amazing. I would definitely do it again. And 3 months after the photo shoot then, I went on to do TSC, Tactical Strength Challenge, where you have 3 attempts at your max deadlift. You do max pull-ups and you do a 5-minute snatch test. Even for 100 kilo, I lifted it off the floor and I just chickened out. I 100% had it. I got 13 pull-ups, and I also did a 5-minute snatch test. I don't even remember my reps. I think I got like 96 in 5 minutes with a 16 kilo kettlebell, and I was 46 kilo or something at the time. Snatching 16 kilo for 5 minutes when you're 46 kilo is hard. Snatching at all for 5 minutes is hard. After the TSC, I kind of like, I don't want to say lost my way, I just kind of fell out of training for a wee while, and I think it was because I didn't actually set any goals after that, which leads me up until this point. My goal is to gain weight and build a bit of muscle. I was actually in for high rocks, but I pulled a muscle in my chest and was out for a few weeks, so haven't been training for that. High rocks is still a possibility. I just want to kind of see where I'm at with the chest first before I jump in and potentially set myself back further. This has been my journey. Like I say, this is literally where it all started. When I was about 12, 13, I was obsessed with doing like those kind of quick, short workouts. I was doing like daily workouts, 10 to 30 squats, 30-second plank, 30-second wall sit, 10 steps. I was doing that kind of stuff every single day. When I would brush my teeth in the mornings, I was doing squats at the same time. I absolutely loved like all these wee quotes and things, and I still use some of these. I still use some of these to this day because I find them, they were almost like a vision board for me back then, and they still work as the same thing now. Like I still look at them and I'm like, it almost gives me a wee bit of motivation. It reminds me of when I first started in the gym. If you have watched this far, first, thank you for watching, and secondly, I'd love to know where you started in your fitness journey and where you are now in comparison to where you started. Maybe other people can give you advice on where you're at, or I can give you advice on where you're at. I will see you in the next video.